Shown at the beginning of the film, we see a married couple, Rachel and Matt. Rachel was pregnant. While they were traveling, their vehicle met with an accident due to Matt's carelessness. They were in a situation where they couldn't move forward with the car. There was no mobile signal there. Matt climbed a tree to check for a signal, but it was no use. At this time, Matt happened to see a farm and a house a short distance away. The two of them started walking towards the farm for help. On the way, they saw a board that read, "This is private property, entry is prohibited." However, with no other options, they moved forward. Soon after, they reached the farm. It was at this time that a man named Bobby arrived in his vehicle. He angrily told them to leave. Although Matt explained his situation to Bobby, he insisted they leave. However, upon learning that Rachel was pregnant, Bobby's demeanor changed. From then on, he began speaking sweetly to the couple. At this moment, Matt asked for his mobile phone for help. Bobby lied to them, saying there was no phone connection there due to strong winds. He told them they could rest at their house until the weather improved. Matt and Rachel agreed. Later, Bobby called his wife, Agnes, and informed her that they had guests. Although Agnes initially objected, upon learning that Rachel was pregnant and was going to have a boy, she happily asked him to bring them home. On the way, Rachel saw a mysterious girl in black clothes who was watching them. When Rachel and Matt arrived at the house, Agnes and her children, Luke and David, welcomed them with great affection. They gave them a nice room to stay in. Seeing all this, Rachel and Matt were very happy. However, all this time, Agnes was secretly listening to their conversation. Through the window of that room, Rachel saw the mysterious girl who had been watching her again. Matt also looked there, but at that moment there was no one there. Later, they all sat together to have dinner with Agnes' family. At this time, Rachel happened to see a photo of the same girl with Agnes and Bobby. When Rachel asked about the girl, Agnes replied that it was their daughter Faith, and that she hadn't come for dinner. In reality, Agnes and Bobby did not have their own children. They had adopted Faith, David, and Luke. During dinner, Bobby's rude behavior towards Luke and David seemed very strange to Rachel and Matt. This made Rachel begin to have doubts about Agnes' family. Rachel then wanted to leave that place as soon as possible. Rachel often felt that someone was secretly listening to their conversation. So Matt looked outside the door, but no one was there. Since Rachel was very tired, Matt put her to sleep. At this time Rachel dreamed that Faith was crying next to the dead bodies of her parents. Faith's real parents were not Agnes and Bobby. Rachel woke up from her nightmare in fear. She told Matt everything. The real name of the girl she had seen was not Faith, but Ellie, a girl who had gone missing some time ago. Rachel was sure that Agnes' family had done something bad to Ellie's family. After that, Rachel did not want to stay there for a single moment. After learning all this, Matt started to leave with Rachel. However, the door was locked. Matt opened the door using a key that was there. But hearing the sound of the key, Bobby came there. But Bobby did not stop the two of them. As Rachel and Matt were about to leave, David and Luke were waiting for them outside with a gun. They hit them on the head with the gun and knocked them unconscious. When Rachel regained consciousness, her hands were tied. At this time, Agnes was also near her. She asked Agnes about Matt in fear. Agnes replied that Matt was in a good place now. However, at this time, David and Luke together were undressing Matt, moving him into a coffin and starting to bury him alive. After Luke put a lighter in the coffin, they buried Matt. After that, the two of them left. At this time, Rachel began to have labor pains. Agnes delivered her baby very successfully. But the baby was not a boy as Agnes had hoped. She gave birth to a girl. This fact disappointed Agnes very much. Still, Agnes took the baby away from Rachel. Later, when no one was around, Rachel untied her bonds. She took a cross that was there, and lay on the bed pretending to know nothing. When Agnes came to take her breast milk for the baby, Rachel attacked Agnes. She tried to run away but was caught. Agnes and her group tied her up again. In fact, Agnes and Bobby had killed the parents of Faith, David, and Luke and were raising them as their own children. Agnes believed that there were no better parents than them. Later, they locked Rachel in their farm and forcefully extracted her breast milk. It was at this time that Matt, who was in the coffin, regained consciousness. He was shocked to realize that he was buried alive in the ground. Hitting the coffin hard, he broke a part of it and came out from under the ground with great difficulty. He cried for help, but there was no one around. After walking around for a while, he happened to see a lake. There were some clothes lying on the shore of that lake. He cleaned himself up and put on those clothes. He walked a little further and happened to see two travelers. He asked them for help, explaining all the events that had happened. However, seeing Matt's condition, they misunderstood him as being drunk. Without any other option, Matt attacked and tied them up. Taking their clothes and essential items, Matt was preparing to leave. Before leaving, he took their knife and put it near them so that they could free themselves. At this time, Luke and David were talking to Agnes about something. Agnes wanted a boy, but Rachel gave birth to a girl. So the two of them told Agnes that if she wanted a boy, they could get pregnant with Rachel by having a physical relationship with her. But hearing their words, Agnes scolded them and drove them away. Luke and David had never experienced what a physical relationship was. So they went into the farm and were about to forcibly have a physical relationship with Rachel. But by then, Matt had arrived. He beat and killed David and Luke. They were very happy to see each other again. Rachel told Matt about their child. Matt was very happy to hear that he had a daughter. After that, he freed Rachel. At home, Agnes and Bobby noticed noises coming from inside the farm. So Ellie broke a glass to distract them. Later, as Rachel and Matt were about to leave, Bobby came in front of them with a gun. Matt tried to save his wife and was shot. So Matt was tragically killed in front of Rachel. Before he died, he couldn't even see the daughter he had. Later, Bobby attacked Rachel and knocked her unconscious. When she regained consciousness, Rachel saw herself and Ellie tied up. At home, Agnes had made up the dead bodies of David and Luke and seated them at the table. Bobby told her that they were dead and it was better to perform their last rites. Agnes agreed with a mysterious expression. So the two of them together buried the dead bodies of David and Luke. But there was another grave near them. Whose it was is a mysterious secret. Agnes stood there for a while, but Bobby went home. By then Rachel and Ellie had freed themselves. Later, Rachel went inside the house. She'd picked up her daughter for the first time. But it was at this time that Bobby arrived. Realizing that Rachel was not on the farm, he had come inside the house with a gun. Seeing Bobby, Rachel humbly begged for permission to breastfeed her daughter one time. Bobby agreed. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Rachel stabbed and killed Bobby with a knife. Later, she called the police from Bobby's phone. It was at this time that Agnes also reached the house. Seeing the condition of the farm, she realized that something was wrong there. So Agnes was waiting for Rachel outside the house with a gun. Rachel took Ellie and her baby and got into the car that was there. But there was no key in that car. It was at this time that Agnes came there with a gun to kill Rachel. To save her daughter, Rachel got out of the car and moved towards Agnes with the gun she had in her hand. The two of them shot at each other. Rachel was shot in the leg and hand. Still, she did not let Agnes go near her daughter. She used all her strength to hit Agnes and knock her unconscious. It was at this time that the police arrived there. At that moment, Agnes regained consciousness and tried to shoot and kill Rachel again. But seeing this, the police shot and killed Agnes. Later, Rachel told the police about Ellie who was with her. But the police replied that there was no one there but Rachel. With that, Rachel became confused. Bobby and Agnes did not have children. So their method was to kill other parents and adopt their children. They had done these cruel things to Matt and Rachel to steal the baby. The third grave that Luke and David had was Ellie's. Since she was a girl, they had killed Ellie. In reality, it was the spirit of Ellie that was helping Rachel. Ellie was helping Rachel every moment, so that what happened to her parents would not happen to anyone else. The film ends showing Rachel, relieved to be alive with her daughter. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and turn on notifications for watch more videos like this.